Friday, K-Squad. I am sharing my top 5 unexpected lessons learned from No Spend January. I hope you've been joining us, but if you haven't, maybe you'll hear what I have to say in this video and maybe it'll encourage you to do a no spend some other month. Let's get started. Number 1, you're still cool if you say no. I think it's also unexpected for me to have to continue to learn this lesson into my 40s, but I've got to be straightforward with you guys and let you know that the cool factor still plays a role in how I operate. I think everybody has that feeling sometimes. You want to be the cool friend. You want to be the cool mom. You just want to remain cool. You don't want to be looked at as uncool. And I think that's why some people don't participate in frugal living because they think it makes them look weird. I'm used to looking weird, guys. So, however, I still have that little voice inside me that wants to please others, that wants to look like I do things effortlessly, though you know that's not true. A lot of the things I do takes a lot of effort behind it to make it look effortless. And here are a couple examples of how I kind of like right off the top of my head wanted to be the cool person, but knew it was not in my best interest. The first example is we had a snow day and my son had his best friend over. And the day kind of went along into the evening and he said, "Oh, can my BFF stay for dinner?" And I was like, "Of course." And my first instinct was, "Oh, I need to be the cool mom. I'm gonna order pizza because I know Kaden would love pizza and I think that would be awesome. They'd be so excited." But then I had to get real for a second and I'm like, I could order pizza. It's not the end of the world, but could I use what I have already? And would I still be cool if we didn't have pizza? So I looked in my pantry, looked in my refrigerator. I had a whole pack of hot dogs and fresh buns. And I was like, maybe they would like hot dogs. So I went and asked his best friend. I was like, "Hey, do you like hot dogs for dinner?" And he said, "I love hot dogs." And I was like, perfect. So I said, "Kaden, you down for hot dogs?" He's like, "Yeah, awesome." And I also knew that his BFF likes pickles. We had pickles in the fridge and it just worked out smoothly. I didn't have to order anything. They were super happy with what they had and they were just happy to have a meal together and spend time together, and it ended up being no big deal and we didn't need pizza. Notice Kaden didn't even ask for the pizza. I put that on myself. So that's something that I'm very aware of. Sometimes people aren't even pressuring you or asking you for things and in your mind you create things. I'm notorious for that. Which leads me to number 2. My friend out of the blue invited me to go to a baby shower in another state this winter. And though I love this friend, she is like a sister, I love her, she lives far away. The flight itself is a cost, but way more beyond the money part. I'm a single mom. I am a homeowner. I have 3 cats. I have a full-time job, a part-time job. I had doctor appointments scheduled. There's a lot of layers going on in the decision of, can I get away for a long weekend? Most of the people going to this other state for the baby shower were flying in on Thursday and leaving on Sunday, which would also require me taking 2 additional days off of work that I have kind of dog-eared for the rest of the year. I've got a lot of stuff on my plate coming up and it just didn't seem to make sense. Though I love this person and I love the friends that were gonna be going, I knew deep down that the stress of getting this weekend together would be far more stressful than the enjoyment I would have for the 2 days that we were there, because the flight there would be about a full work day worth of flying. Then we would get settled in, we'd have 2 days there, and then the whole last day would be flying again, being in the airport, being in the connectors. And I just couldn't wrap my head around doing it right now. And even though it would have been so cool for me to show up, and again, financially, could I technically afford it? Yes. But the rest of it, I just couldn't get my head around for a weekend when I have so many other things on my plate. And I know some of you are like, "Well, Kate, you deserve a weekend." Yes, I do. But you know how sometimes people like will go to work when they don't feel that good because it's more stress calling out? That's kind of how I felt in this situation. Like, it was so much preparation. It would cause me so many layers. I let her know, I love you. I'm so excited for you. Maybe some other time when the baby is born, I can come visit and celebrate with you. But to get there for a baby shower for a weekend, it just wasn't gonna work. And to wrap up this point, I'm a super people pleaser, and I know some of you are too. Part of me was like, I should just do this for her. But I also knew that me saying yes to her was saying no to a lot of other things that I need to manage in my life. And I knew the answer was no. So when you have to say no, be confident in your no. Be kind, but be clear. Sometimes we have to just say no. And she was so cool about it. She was like, oh, I totally understand. We'll do something later. And I knew she would be cool with it. She's known me our whole lives, and we will get together later. When that baby comes into the world, I cannot wait to meet him. So don't forget, if you set some boundaries when you're trying to reach a goal, I love that expression when people say it's either a heck yes or it's a no. If you have to do so much finagling to get yourself around and on board with the decision, it's probably no. Even though sometimes you want to, in theory, go with your gut. You're still cool if you say no. Take my word for it. The second lesson I learned during No Spend January is that making firm decisions up front can be really helpful. So for No Spend January, I knew I would be spending money on my mortgage, my bills, groceries, everything that, keeps everything running smoothly, but no extras, no clothing, no going out to eat, all that kind of stuff. Like, that was the plan. And I knew ahead of time. I said, Kate, this is the commitment we're making. People often ask me, how do you make that decision and then not go back on it? Well, this is why, and I hope you're listening, because this is very important. When I make a commitment to myself and I don't follow through, that makes me feel icky. Think about how I would feel if somebody very important to me made a commitment to me and then they went back on it. It would make me feel like I couldn't trust them, and it would not make me put my faith in them in the future. The most important relationship you can have with anyone is the one you have with yourself. And when you let yourself down, that is one of the worst feelings for me anyway. Like, if I make a commitment, I say to myself, this is what I'm doing for the reasons that I had. Like, the reason you're doing No Spend January, you were probably trying to stop the bleed after Christmas. You were trying to start fresh with the new year. You were trying to make some new habits so that you didn't rely so much on spending. You weren't relying so much on money to make you happy. You were trying to make some fresh starts in January and change up your mindset so that you could reach some financial goals, right? So if I make this commitment and then I go back on it on myself, I'm committed to me. I am super committed to me. And when you commit to yourself, you can rely on yourself. You can trust yourself. You can have faith in yourself. And that's important. The third lesson I learned during No Spend January this year is money isn't everything, but it does help. Knowing that I was not spending on extras and saving that money for a future goal was very motivating, because I knew I had a bigger cause, like, in my mind, like it was going to go towards something better than frivolous shopping, right? However, this month really shined a light on how much I do, and perhaps I do too much. This is also when I toggle between the extreme benefits of living frugally and the extreme temptation sometimes to just, you only live once, go for it kind of thing. And what I was feeling this month was, like, for example, I had a conversation with someone I know who was complaining about how he didn't have enough money. It was affecting his family and it was really stressful. And, so I said, you might want to consider getting a second job. And he said, I don't want one. And I was like, for a second, I thought, well, neither do I, but I have to. And then I thought, do I have to? You know what I mean? Like, but I do. In my mind, I definitely do. I've shared with you before, if I didn't have my side hustles on top of my full-time job, I would struggle to work on paying off the mortgage or have money for extra things. So that is why I work so hard on the side above and beyond my job. But I also realize not everyone wants to live like me, and that's okay. However, if you don't have enough money to make ends meet and it's affecting your family, sometimes you've got to make some changes. But me on the other extreme end, I feel like I work a lot. And this month we had a couple snow days. And I'm telling you, it was like a gift from the heavens to have these bonus days to myself, to be with my son, to get the laundry done on an extra day where I wasn't just rushing. I actually rested. We actually went to see his friend play a basketball game, and I don't normally ever have time for this kind of leisure. And it was very apparent to me that this is not quite normal. And I know that, but I really am thinking I need to reevaluate a couple things going forward this year, because I do want that time to just be. And I feel like my schedule is so timed out. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I kind of need to do that to get where I need to go. But I've also shared with you in the past that sometimes things are most effective in spurts, and you can't go the distance at this level of productivity, perhaps, without getting some rest in, which leads me to number 4. This is a lesson that became glaringly obvious to me this month. Again, unexpected, not anything that I didn't already know, but like very like illuminated, if you will. Resting shouldn't cause guilt. And I feel guilty a lot of the time. This one's a very personal one, you guys. I realize as I'm saying this, but I know that we're all human and we all have these kind of thoughts and feelings, so I'm just letting it all out. Resting equals guilt for me because I feel like I should be doing something else. And even though I know, and I've said it to you before, you should be unapologetic about getting some rest, I still feel it from within sometimes, like, oh, I can be making a video right now. Oh, I could be choreographing a dance right now. Oh, I could be writing right now. It's not, oh, I should be doing more with Kaden right now. Like, there's never a time where I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I don't have, you know, some people say they're bored. I am never bored. I always have a to-do list a mile long. And the other part for me is I require alone time to recharge. I'm a friendly introvert. And so if I don't have some quiet time, I can't get my battery recharged. So it's just important to know yourself. And again, these kind of challenges bring to light some things that maybe you didn't know were an issue for you. And I hope that you've had at least one aha moment this month where you thought, geez, I didn't realize that was a thing, but I can do better. Number 5, less can be so much more. When I did that video for you, my pajama drama episode this month, I was sharing like before and after of my bedroom and my kitchen. And I just become like a slob kebab. Like I can't put things away. And for the last 2 weeks, I committed also to simply putting things away where they belong and not just leaving it out and saying I'll take care of it later. Because guess what? I don't, and it piles up and it's stressful. Having less things to manage is life-changing. And that is also why I gravitate toward minimalism and frugal living, because it's focusing on what's important and letting the rest go to the wayside, eliminating it, greatly reducing it. These things bring lots of value into my life, and I know it brings value into yours too, but sometimes things can get away from us. And again, these snow days, you guys, these unexpected drops of heaven in my life, I didn't even realize how much I was like, all the time, like just trying to go, go, go. And all of a sudden I had the gift of a day. I could cry. Like it was so much relief. And we had a back-to-back. We had a Friday and a Monday, an extra long weekend. Oh my gosh. I had time to film this video. Kaden had time to have a friend over. Like things were a changing with a snow day thrown into the mix. And oh my gosh, I don't even know what to do with myself. But I do. I have tons to do with myself. But getting some rest in and focusing on less. This whole month, let me get back to the less is more. When you know you have made the commitment not to spend here, you're not looking at Starbucks when you drive by. You're not flipping through some ads. You're not looking at those emails. Like I've already decided I'm not doing that. So less is way more. Less gave me more time and more appreciation and more insight into everything I needed this month. And I'm so grateful for all these benefits of No Spend January. Please let me know in the comments now, what is one unexpected, or maybe it was expected, either way, what's something you walked away from No Spend January thinking, knowing, realizing that you want to share with the K Squad? Because I think it's going to be super, super helpful in all of us realizing what a challenge here and there can do for us, how it can change things up, and how it can change our lives. So here we are at the end of No Spend, and I just want to encourage you, now that the fresh month is about to start, February's coming, try to not feel like, okay, I didn't spend all January, but it's February now, it's go time. I know many of you have shared that concern that you're going to go crazy in the month of February because you didn't in January. But I'm going to encourage you to, instead of doing this, do this. Just like loosen it up a little bit. Some of you are continuing on to No Spend February. I am not. Like it's not an intentional thing. I'll probably be low spend for February and March because that's kind of how my spending cycle goes. First quarter is no spend to low spend. So that's kind of expected for me and that's kind of my plan. But you don't have to make up for lost time in January. Then it's kind of like a wash. Take your time. Remember what's important. Remember what you learned in the month of January by participating in this kind of challenge, and do you, boo, do what you need to do, but it's not a race to spend because you didn't spend last month. Take your time, focus on your needs, sprinkle in your wants, and continue to reach your goals. As always, I will be here each week to give you your weekly dose of frugal inspiration. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, hit subscribe, hit the like button, and ring that bell so you're notified each time I upload. Because sometimes I do shorts now, sometimes I do unexpected videos, sometimes some pajama drama, sometimes a live. Hit that bell so you're notified every time I put something up here if you want that kind of information. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week, K Squad. Bye.